Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have a really fun flat shaker card to share with you. So let's jump right in. So to start, I am going to blend my background, and as you can see, Mist is helping me out. She's supervising. She's going to leave here in a second, but she did have to start there. And I'm going to blend 5 different Distress Oxide inks. You don't need 5. This was a bit extravagant, but I thought it'd be really fun to kind of bring these colors in together and see how my sky would turn out. And this blend doesn't need to be perfect. We are going to cover it up as you saw from the beginning there, but I do kind of like to try to have my blend look fairly nice together, so I do pick colors that I know will work well together. So I'm going to start with Tumbled Glass. Then I go into Wilted Violet, Villainous Potion, Chipped Sapphire, and I finish it off with a very small line of black soot. You don't necessarily see a lot of the Tumbled Glass or the black soot, sadly, but I still think that they add something to the blend, so they are there. You could probably leave them both out and just have more of the purple, Wilted Violet into Villainous Potion, and then Chipped Sapphire if you wanted to. But I like to bring in those extra colors, and I like to kind of add that really light to really dark. Some of my inks, as you see, need to be re-inked. They're a bit dry, and I don't have a re-inker for Chipped Sapphire, so at least I don't think I did. I did re-ink Tumbled Glass and Wilted Violet after this, but yeah, I'm low on, some of my ink pads are a little bit dry, so I am starting to collect all of the re-inkers slowly because there's a lot of colors, but I don't own them all yet. So I did go through once, and then you see here I'm kind of going back through the blend again just to intensify the colors and kind of have them blend together, but also kind of exist in their own space. Hopefully that makes sense. But also, as I said, this doesn't need to be perfect because we're going to cover quite a bit of it up, and you're only going to see it as the background. So you can see that my blend is not perfect by any means, but it really doesn't matter. I just kind of wanted that really cool look of the 5 colors going across the piece of cardstock, so it worked out really well. And then I splashed on some Perfect Pearls that I keep mixed up in a mini mister bottle. I keep this on my desk all the time, and then I just shook it up and then kind of used the nozzle or the little spout in there to just flick it on. And I did trim off a touch. This is like 1/8 of an inch, only because I need to wrap it in plastic, and I like to kind of have it be a little bit smaller than my base so that it doesn't stick out really funny when I go to adhere it to the base. So it will be an A2 sized card, and this will take up the majority of the front of the card. You'll see at the end there that I leave like a tiny white border on a couple of the sides just because I think it looks nice, but you don't need to. I just find that trimming it down a little bit makes it easier for the plastic to adhere to the A2 base, and then it doesn't stick out kind of funny. So I brought in my 1/8 of an inch Scor-tape, and I'm going to use that to adhere the plastic to my cardstock. Or this is HammerMill Cardstock. I like to blend on HammerMill, but I like to use the 1/8 of an inch. I find that it's a lot easier to get it really close to the edge and not have a bunch of the stick sticking off the side when I don't have enough plastic to kind of go over it. And I have kind of started doing my shaker cards like this, where I'll do one edge of the sticky first, like sticking up the plastic across the thing. This is just old stamp packaging that I've trimmed down to fit the panel. And I just found that if I used to do it where I would put the Scor-tape on each edge, and then, you know, I would have edges where they weren't overlapping, so a little bit of glitter could escape in the corner. So I've found now if I do the bottom and then the sides overlap over top of the bottom, there's less likely for a chance of anything to kind of just come out of the corners because they are adhered twice. Hopefully that kind of makes sense, because that's, if you're going to have any spillage, that's where it's going to happen, right? It's going to happen in the corner once you've kind of created the shaker card. So I have alleviated that by just adhering the corners twice. So there's a little bit more protection there. And then for my shaker elements, I'm going to bring in some Distress Rock Candy Glitter and the Mica Flakes. And then I'm sorry this is off camera here. I thought I was in frame. I wasn't. I dumped in just a little bit of the silver stars that I've been using lately to add to it. So I don't know if it's a, you know, a night sky necessarily, or it's like a snowy night sky. And you could adhere some of these flat down. I didn't. I chose to have all of it shake around, so it kind of looks like there's snow and stars moving around, which I just thought looked really pretty. But if you wanted to, you could of course adhere some of the stars down into the background, and then it would look more like it was a night sky. I chose to just adhere, or just have everything shake around in the inside there, because I thought that that would look really pretty. So this is kind of that shaker element, and it's completely created at this point. You have a full-on shaker card. So for the, I don't know if I'd call it the focal image. I almost think that Santa Claus is the focal image, but for the secondary focal image, I'm going to stamp out this line of houses. It's from the Simon Says Stamp Home Sweet Home stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp that out twice. Here you see I messed it up, so I turned my cardstock over because paper has two sides, and I'm going to stamp it out again. I left that in there because I know it kind of looks like when you're editing stuff and you can take out mistakes and whatnot, it always looks like, you know, like everything you do is perfect. It isn't. I mess up all the time. And I just wanted to leave that in there so you guys could kind of see, like, it's not a big deal. Flip your cardstock over and move on with your day. Like, I do it all the time. But yeah, so I stamped it down twice. Once, because this is fitted for a slimline card. So I wanted to get slightly different houses on each side. So I did stamp it twice there. And then I'm going to bring in my N1, 3, and 5. So N1, N5, and N3, sorry. And I'm going to Copic color the houses. So I stamped them out in Memento Tuxedo black ink because it is a Copic friendly ink. And I'm going to use grayscale for all of the houses because I really want what you notice as the bright colorful piece to be the shaker window with those really pretty colors in the background. So I'm going to use these houses as what Santa's going to fly over. And this is, I mean, it turned into a Christmas card. Really, before I add Santa Claus, it doesn't have to be a Christmas card. That would be completely up to you. But I chose to bring him in because I love that die set. I just think it's fabulous. So I did kind of make this into a Christmas card with, I guess, slightly non-traditional colors because it's mostly purple. But for my Copic coloring, I like to go lightest to darkest and then back through again. So my lightest, I usually lay a full wash of the color down. So I colored the whole house in the N1. And then I brought shadows in with the N3 and N5 to kind of hopefully add some dimension to the little house so that it stood off of the cardstock. So hopefully you can kind of see that here. I know it's a little bit difficult because the house is kind of small, but you'll see it in the end when I hold the card up more. And I did all of the houses this way, and then I'm going to fussy cut it out. There is a matching die that cuts this line of houses out. I don't own it, but there is one in existence, so if fussy cutting is not your thing, that's totally fair. But I don't mind fussy cutting. I usually just, you know, throw on a YouTube video or something and watch it while I do this, or you could watch TV or whatnot, but this is kind of my way to do this. And I just fussy cut along. I did leave a slight white border, mostly because honestly, I like that look. And I think that it would be really difficult to go around like the water fountain if you didn't. So this is kind of just my preference. And as to the shading, I do have a tendency towards the light source being in the top left, creating the shadows on the right of my items. There is no technical light source in this card because I didn't add like a moon or anything. So I mean, that's going to be completely up to you as to how you want to shade things then, if you want to even really add that much shading. You don't have to. I just have a tendency towards shading that way, so I always have my darkest point kind of be the bottom right because I'm thinking that my light source is the top left. So it's kind of my thought there, but there's no right or wrong way to do it. That's just how I like to do it when I don't have like a set light source in the image. Even when I do have a set light source, I have a tendency towards doing that. It's my preferred look, so I kind of end up going backwards to that regardless. But I just kind of thought that would be really kind of pretty. So I fussy cut out that first image. You can see here it's going to go on the bottom of my shaker card. And then I'm going to fussy cut out the second one. You don't have to watch that twice, so I didn't show it again. And then here I have the December exclusive from 2021. So this is last year's die exclusive from Simon Says Stamp and Tim Holtz. Obviously, you can't get this one anymore. It was a special last year, but you can get this year's because they've announced the December 2022 exclusive between Tim Holtz and Simon Says Stamp. So I'll have that linked and listed down below. It's super cute. It's some snowmen. If you haven't already seen it, super, super cute. I already ordered mine, so I'm pretty excited about that. But so you can't get this one anymore, but there will be this year's if you're interested at all. I'll link it down below so you can check it out. But yeah, so then I just trimmed this one off. I was going to do the full 2 layers, and in the end I decided not to. It kind of hid too much of the tumbled glass, and I didn't quite like that. So I trimmed off a little bit of it, and I just kind of had these bigger houses sitting behind the smaller row of houses. And then I used my Barely Art glue, which clogged about here just to irritate me. So I had to use my pin to kind of clean it out. But I used my Barely Art glue to adhere everything down flat. I did consider using some dimension on this. In the end, I don't, simply because I want to be able to mail this easily. And I'm worried that I won't be able to if I add more dimension, because of course the shaker part already does add some dimension to this. And I like to mail my stuff out to pen pals or family or whomever. So I did end up laying everything just flat. And this row of houses sits on the very bottom of that shaker card. So you can kind of see me trying to line it up on the bottom there. And then of course I'm going to put Santa across the top. That glitter cardstock is from Simon Says Stamp. It's their new glitter cardstock. They just brought well, it's new to me, I guess. They brought it out, I think, in the Stamptember release, and I ordered both the white and the black. And then I just saw they released their December stuff tonight. So there's this winter set in there. Oh, I'm gonna have to get my hands on that too, because it is stunning. So I have a thing for glitter cardstock. I love it so much. But anyway, I'm gonna glue this down with my Nuvo Deluxe glue. You don't have to use 2 liquid glues. I chose to because one has a small nozzle and one has a big nozzle. So it's kind of my preference. And then for lining this up, because there is going to be a small white border, I actually just lined it up to the bottom of the card. So the white border is really just on the top and the sides. There is no white border on the bottom because you really wouldn't see much of it anyway, just because the houses are there. But so I kind of just lined it up to the bottom of the page. And then you guys know I love glitter. So I brought in my clear Spectrum Noir glitter pen. Now be careful with this. Memento Tuxedo Black is Copic safe, but it is water-based, and this glitter pen is water-based. So you really have to be careful not to scrub across the lines a lot, or you will erase them, and then you won't have any windows. So I just lightly went over all of the windows, and I think I went over the little lamp as well. And I did adhere the extra house and little bench inside of my card, so you can kind of see it here. I just added a little glitter because I didn't want to waste it. It was really pretty, and I had already colored it, so I mean, I might as well use it at that point. And then this is the card I have for you guys. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you'll tell me what you think of it. I think it turned out really pretty, but I'd love to know either way. So if you'd consider leaving me a like, leave me a comment, and maybe subscribe if you enjoy my content. I do new videos every Monday and Thursday, and I have some exciting stuff coming up. I mean, I'm biased, but I think it's pretty exciting. So thank you so much, guys, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.